the establishment is striking back, or at least has struck back against Elon Musk to some degree. As people may remember, and just to kick off, this is about the fact that he decided to be like, I'm just going to buy all of Twitter and clear them out. And I was like, yeah, if I had that much money, that's probably what I'd do too.
Yeah.
How do you fight back against the left? Well, I have all this cash.
Well, yeah, because the left, for years, the left were saying, oh, you're not happy with being cancelled, with, you know, being arbitrarily dismissed from Twitter, like Trump, and so many people have been kicked off Twitter. Well, it's a private company. You're free to start your own private company.
No.
It's like, yeah, or there's another option where we buy that private company.
Well, actually, it's a public company. It's publicly traded, and we can buy it all and then privatize it as well. But anyway, I'm just going to start off with this premium video that we did a while back. You can see between John and Carl here on the politics of the Hunger Games, because I think it has some striking similarities, or at least in the power structures as we can see them in the response to Elon here. So we'll move forward. If we go to the next one, this is the SEC filing that Elon made, and we didn't have time to read it yesterday, but I thought we'd go through the end of it, right at the bottom, where he has some notes that he sent to the Twitter guys, which I just found funny. So he starts off by saying, as I indicated this weekend, I believe that the company should be private to go through the changes that we need to be made. After the past several days of thinking this over, I have decided I want to acquire the company and take it private. I'm going to send you an offer letter tonight. It will be public in the morning. Are you available to chat? I just love how he's sort of friendly about this. Like, yeah, I'm buying the company. Hello. Friendly guy. Number 1, best and final. Point A, I am not playing the back and forth game. This is after they tried to, well, put him in a trap, and he was like, no. B, I have moved straight to the end. It's a high price for your shareholders. They will love it. If the deal doesn't work, given that I don't have confidence in the management, nor do I believe that they can necessarily change the public market, I would need to reconsider my position as a shareholder. This is not a threat. It's simply a good investment without the changes that need to be made, and those changes won't happen without taking the company private. Blah, blah, blah. Call me if you want. Bye. I just love how it's so politely put there to them, where it's just obviously hostile, but at the same time, just
he gets
so
straight
polite.
to the point, and he's absolutely right. And also, you know, shareholders, if you've invested in Twitter, most of them will be investing to make money rather than, you know, for some sort of ideological mission.
Well, you'd think in a normal stock market
a lot
situation.
of shareholders come out and like said, oh, this is terrible that we're making money.
Well, they're not happy about the idea of making money. Elon Musk has offered them money, and they're like, well, I don't want that. I've got plenty of that.
What's happened to capitalism?
We will show. But he gave a TED Talk recently, and he actually gave some concrete examples of what he would do with Twitter as well. Like, he genuinely wants to reform the place to actually be useful for once. And one of the examples he gives is any D-ranking that the company makes to any account should be public. Like, you should be able to look up what kind of D-ranking is taking place on your account or anyone else's account. If it's algorithmically or manually done.
This is what people have been arguing for years. Make all the decisions, all this this opaque, black box controlled by, really biased billionaire oligarchs with agendas. All these green hairs with septum piercings at Twitter. They make all these decisions about who gets boosted, who gets shadow banned, but none of it's clear. None of it's following any sort of rules that are repeated and applied fairly. It's all very arbitrary. So if we open up, that's going to provide scrutiny and going to vastly improve. Like when we open up, any public service or when a company has an AGM, like when you open up some
actual transparency for once.
Transparency is key.
That is his one demand, as in like the one concrete demand he's been able to make of how I would reform it, and that's just an obviously good one for everyone involved, except the leftists who want to keep this all a secret.
Yeah.
He also went on in the TED Talk to say that the future of civilization depends on an open public square. Quote, I don't care about the economics at all. Just don't care. I'm going to lose money. Don't give a toss. And this is the thing that a lot of people have been saying, well, isn't it ridiculous that he says he doesn't care and therefore is going to trash the company? No one cares about the economics. 0 people in the room care about the economics of Twitter.com. Most of all, the people invested in Twitter.com before Elon came along as well. So as we can see here, this is the response to Elon buying all his shares. Vanguard, one of the other major corporations, or let's say, trust funds or whatever the hell they're called, I can't remember, have decided to up their stakes. So if you click on that, John, they've now decided to buy so many more Twitter shares. They're now even bigger than Elon Musk. As you can see, they're number 1 now with 10.29%. So they just decided to buy more. Why? Because they want to fight against Elon Musk. It's clear. If we go to the next one, we can see more of this. And the point I'm making the point here, if you see Vanguard and BlackRock leverage their Twitter shares to engage in anti-Elon activism, then you know that the threat to the regime is real. And as I mentioned, it's not just them, everyone else seems to be increasing their shares as well to try and stop Elon from taking over the company. Why is that? He's offering you money. You could make lots of money. The company isn't worth $54 a share, and he's offering you that huge piles of billions and billions of dollars. None of them want it. None of them care about the cash. They care about the control, which tells you everything you need to know. That these organizations, the people who run them, are not investing because they want to make cash. They're investing because they want power over the public discourse directly in the form of Twitter.com, owning the platform, owning what MPs can see, because, well, they're all on there. If you go to the next one, we're going to see some other stuff about this. Someone making the point. So let me get this straight. The progressive left is now rooting for Saudi Arabia, Wall Street, Vanguard/BlackRock against free speech, liberty, and the dude who makes electric cars and is going to Mars. What? Shouldn't be a surprise, really, frankly. I mean, Elon Musk is so much a guy outside of the cathedral, clearly. I mean, he's a guy who's pro-freedom, pro-liberty, as this chap says.
Classic liberal values, not the modern, woke liberal values.
Nothing to do with the socialists. Has no engagement with these people. This African-American, who has gone through so much trials and tribulations, is now the richest African-American on planet Earth. Yeah, they don't like him. I wonder why. It's because the regime is made up of the most cynical, evil people on the planet, by the looks of it. And if we go forward, we can see one of these people, which is Saudi Prince Al-Wahid bin Talud Al Saud, very short name. One of Twitter's largest shareholders rejects Elon Musk's bid. He's not going to engage in it. He also doesn't want money.
It's nice of him to take some time away from ordering strikes, missile strikes on Yemeni civilians.
Yeah, just another funeral went by, clear today. Didn't get to blow it up. But also just, again, another individual who hates the smell of money. Just doesn't want more of it. Can't stand it.
He's got enough.
Yeah, we'll go to the next one. We can see Al-Wahid's decision-making here. He decides to argue that it's worth more than $54 a share. It's obviously not. He also decided to buy...
If it was, it would be valued at more than that on the market. That's how markets work.
Yeah, and no, it's not. And also his response was to buy more shares. Again, trying to stop Elon Musk, take up as much as they can to try and keep him out of power, as in, well, being able to bring liberty to the public square here. And if we get to the next one, we can see Elon Musk's response to Al-Wahid, which is hilarious. Interesting. Just 2 questions, if I may. How much of Twitter does the kingdom own directly and indirectly? And what is the kingdom's views on journalistic freedom of speech? Like, should be taking no input from Saudi princes on how the public square should be run? I mean, their input is usually chop chop, and that's about it. So, yeah, as you can see, 200,000 likes there because, well, the entire Liberty faction that's left on Twitter.com are still standing behind Elon this, rightfully. If we go to the next one, we can also see Elon Musk's definition of free speech, which was fantastic. I mean, it goes to show that a man has thought about this. He decided to say, is someone you don't like allowed to say something you don't like? If that's the case, then we have free speech. It's the right for the person you don't like to say something you don't like.
Yeah.
What is Noam Chomsky's definition used to use back in the day? I mean, Noam Chomsky,
Yep.
far right-winger? No, absolutely not. If we go to the next one, we can also see a funny case of this, because you remember the prince saying that it was undervalued. It was actually worth more than $54, even though it's not trading price.
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense. So apparently, Goldman Sachs were called in by Twitter to evaluate the price to try and argue that it was undervalued by Elon, and it was totally worth $1 bajillion a share, or whatever fake number they wanted. However, people also caught that Goldman Sachs had already told their investors how much it was worth, which, as you can see there, 30 buckaroos. It's not worth it. They were literally saying it's actually not even worth, a fraction of what Elon's offering there. It's much less than compared to what Elon's offering. So you can see, again, the reason they're upping their share prices is not to make money.
Yeah.
They all know it's not worth
Yeah.
what Elon's offering. They're here to keep control. If we go to the next one as well, we can also see I went to Wall Street Bets to go and check out what they're up to, because, of course, they're big fans as well. I love this one that they posted there. So you can see Business Insider saying billionaire Jeff Bezos, Washington Post, marks a fascinating cultural transition in America, because Bezos just decided to buy the Washington Post, and that's fine.
Yeah.
That's okay.
He's got the right politics, the right opinions. They've been approved.
If a billionaire wants to just buy a corporation and control their complete output, that's all fine, unless it's Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Then it's evil and bad. Elon Musk's attempts to buy Twitter represents a chilling new threat. Billionaire trolls taking over social media. Yeah, this is bad and evil, I'm sure, but the reverse is absolutely fine. If you go to the next one, you can also see of course, the Washington Post the outlet that Jeff Bezos owns, is very mad, and they decided to write this. Musk's appointment to Twitter's board shows that we need regulation of social media platforms to prevent rich people from controlling our channels of communication. Brought to you by Jeff Bezos TMC.
There are very few newspapers that aren't controlled, and social media platforms that aren't controlled by billionaires.
Yeah.
Even the Guardian say, "Oh, we're free from any influence from any rich people." It's like, what about Bill Gates?
When you're giving that money back?
Yeah.
I mean, what was it? I can't remember the amount. It was millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah. It was well into 7 figures, I think.
Ridiculous.
I mean, 8 figures.
But there you have it. So there's the correct billionaires who are arguing that billionaires should not be in charge of the media or the means of communication because that would be bad when it's Elon, but not us.
Yeah.
And what's the difference between us and Elon? Well, Elon wants free speech.
Yeah.
Elon wants the marketplace of ideas. I mean, I don't really know if he has a real grounded ideological position on much stuff. He seems more like a pragmatist in most regards. So I really genuinely think he just wants a marketplace where people can have the fight.
Yeah.
And we'll see what comes of it. Anyway, if we go to the next one, we can also see the fact that Elon's not disturbed by these shifts. He also decided to say that he does have a plan B if Twitter rejects his offer. He won't say what it is yet. Probably the right thing to do, of course. Although the questions have obviously been raised that if he just decides to sell all his shares and plummet the stock price even further, it's like, sure, you guys keep control, but you've now lost loads of money.
Yeah.
So, I mean, either way, I win.
And then Twitter are even more vulnerable to, attempt a hostile takeover.
I hope so. I'd love to see it, but if not, well, they're just going to go bankrupt in irrelevancy as they're moving that way already. But that's the story, as in like the news part. The best part of all of this has to be the left-wing response because it's been magical. I don't know how much you've seen, but holy crap, the verified checkmarks lost their goddamn minds. Have some responses here. Elon Musk is why to abolish billionaires. Asking them to chip in their fair share isn't enough. Regulating them isn't enough. When people are allowed to acquire this much concentrated influence, they will inevitably manspread economic power into every other form of power.
What?
But I love how it's already owned by billionaires.
Yeah.
I mean, sorry, I forgot that Vanguard and BlackRock were mom and pop stores run by people on...
I mean, well, on a serious note, I mean, Mohammed bin Salman, whatever he's called, the Saudi Arabian prince, premier, leader, he's a dictator who makes all his money from fossil fuels. Whereas Elon Musk is...
He's a struggling worker in the commune.
Man, he's generated so much wealth for people. He's not just taking resources out of the ground and selling them. He's creating business. And he's creating business that actually helps the planet. It's electric cars. It's what we're supposed to be supporting if you follow what the woke left say. So why is he the enemy and Mohammed bin Salman is...
He's friend. Friend-enemy distinction here.
The guy who kills... He killed Khashoggi.
I don't know if this particular prince did.
Oh, right.
But
one of them did.
Either way, he's a member of the kingdom's family. And, well, look, there's not much of a distinction there, so it's a fair point to make. But it's just that, well, look, the Progressive Cathedral has been up for buying on the stock market forever. Yeah. And you've all been fine with this. Yeah. And billionaires have all been trading it, and you've all been fine with that. Why is that? And all of a sudden, this billionaire you're upset about. Well, it's because, well, they're all part of the cathedral. They're all part of the established order, which is happy to censor as much as possible because it keeps their position as firm as possible. I mean, as soon as Elon comes along and starts mining into that concrete that you've created, then you're upset because it may actually change things for the better for once. Yeah. If we move to the next one, we can see more of this madness. As you can see, Addy No collected quite a few here. I suppose if you can click on the images, then we'll have some enjoy with this. Verified checkmark, who cares who he is? Today on Twitter feels like the last evening in a Berlin nightclub at the twilight of Weimar, Germany. Because, free speech is when Nazi Germany, and when Nazi Germany, that's free speech. That's when we arrive at true freedom, according to Jeff here. Rightio. Let's move to the next one. Next image. You can see some guy here saying Elon Musk buying Twitter is the end of the world, basically. He'll amplify every extremist right-wing Nazi he can find.
What? Is this guy is this guy aware of what Elon Musk is about? I've never heard Elon Musk espouse or support any kind of extremist far right view.
No, I mean the most political he's ever got is haha 420.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, sure, why not? It's, again, a liberty focused view, not a Nazi focused view.
Yeah.
The liberal Nazis weren't a thing. It's not real. If we go to the next image, we can see more of this. Here we go. Elon Musk targets Twitter with $41 billion cash takeover offer. This could mean the end of content moderation and on the platform, discrediting into disinformation and far-right extremism. So we're gonna descend into far-right extremism and disinformation. Why? Because people are allowed to speak.
I mean, he says this could, but it could also mean that everybody gets a free can of Coke. I mean, it could mean anything. It's an absolute nonsense to speculate. I mean, obviously it wouldn't. What it's going to mean is content moderation that follows rules, follows processes that are known, that are transparent, that are clear, and in content moderation that you can see
what's actually going on.
Yeah, you can see it happening in front of you.
But I also love the idea that Twitter is not a place of disinformation and far left extremism. So I'm sorry, but like you have literal terrorists boasting themselves on your platform constantly.
Yeah.
Not just the Taliban.
But
let's not get into that for a minute.
But they're woke left approved terrorists.
Yeah.
So, Islamic extremists and, dictators and
or Antifa.
things like that. Yeah, Antifa, that's
Killed
fine.
someone in Portland this week.
But
here's an interview.
Yeah, you can't have democratically elected leaders of the free world.
No. I also, just the disinformation point. I mean, that's something to really keep in mind here, because we've covered a lot the Hunter Biden laptop story and the fact that was censored by Twitter, for example, so a lot of people couldn't see it. And, well, if Elon Musk is in charge of Twitter and that decision comes to his desk, what's Elon going to do? He's not going to censor it. He's going to be like, well, look, let people talk about it.
Yeah. And also...
That wouldn't be allowed currently.
He won't be...
I wasn't.
He won't be the god of Twitter. He'll set up processes that will be followed. So it won't be somebody's opinion if something should be cancelled. It'll be the process. Which is, that's how...
Which he'll have influence over. But
that's like a criminal justice system. You know what I mean? Like, you're following rules, you're following precedent, you're following explicit laws that are defined and limited and transparent.
And they'll actually be fair for once to slant it. Because the New York Times Hunter Biden laptop story is probably the best example of just, well, you censored that and called it Russian espionage. It just wasn't.
Yeah.
Like, that was actual disinformation that you all perpetrated from the director at the top of Twitter and Facebook, who just censored the story. Well, that can't happen again if you have someone like Elon in charge, which would be good. And if we go to the next one here, we can see some more examples. Elon Musk is Donald Trump with money. Newsflash, Donald Trump also has money. Oh, no. I can't have fun.
Oh, my God. My God.
Let's go to the next one, because I saw Count Dankula's response, which was hilarious. No, don't let people I don't like speak. That might start to agree with them. No, this is just like Nazi Germany. No, how can people debate things? Basically Nazism. Remember Nazi Germany? Famous for its culture of debates.
Yeah, plurality of opinion.
If we go to the next few, we'll have some enjoyment out of these as well. Some guy being like, please no. He signs it off here, the funniest part. Yours truly, a lifelong verified Twitter user. Don't you know I'm verified? Don't you know I'm a Twitter aristocrat? I've worked with you for so long. Shut up, rando. No one cares. Let's go to the next one, because I love this account as well. Someone here, I love you all, but I'm 100% out if Musk takes over Twitter. Bye.
Nice. Cool.
No one cares.
Go to Getter.
Yes.
Go to Parler.
I'll let everyone on. Don't worry. They're not a censorious platform like Twitter. If we go to the next one, we'll get some more of these. There's some guy being like, I am frightened of the impact on society and politics if Elon Musk acquires Twitter. He seems to believe that social media, anything goes. For democracy to survive, we need more content moderation, not less.
What? So for democracy to survive, we need less democracy.
We need more censorship, and that's how you get more democracy.
Right.
So the more things you censor, the more democratic everything is.
Right.
That makes sense.
The only way we can be free is if we're not free.
Yes.
Right.
Perfect take. We'll move on. We'll go to the next one here. Some other check mark. If Elon Musk successfully purchases Twitter, it was in World War III. Perfectly sane people.
And
absolutely
the destruction of our planet.
The whole world's going to end. Why? Some people will be able to say words. Oh no. If we move forward, we can go to a failed game dev who had something to say as well. Brianna Wu here, who decided to come out with Gab, etc. failed because smart people don't want to spend our time on those platforms. Dude, Twitter's already failing. Like, it's already not profitable.
Yeah.
Like, it's already not worth having if you're actually an investor looking to make money, of course. Well, then it's not a successful platform, whereas the other ones actually are in that regard. They're still growing. Twitter is shrinking every year. So that doesn't even make any sense. But again, Brianna Wu, famous smart person, failed game dev, and, whore. Let's go to the next one so we can see Elon Musk also saying, in response to this, taking Twitter private at $54. Should this be up to the shareholders, not the board? And people being like, well, obviously. And it's a good question, which is the fact of, well, the board should be doing things in the interest of the shareholders.
Yeah.
And if you're offering the shareholders money, well, seems like a pretty good argument for what would be in their interests. Cash money. I don't know if you hate money. Maybe the shareholders hate money. I assume that's what the board's thinking, like the rest of them. Cernovich here making a good point as well. Why is Saudi Arabia so obsessed with blocking the deal? And why is the regime media covering this up? Oh, very good question, as Elon says. If we move forward, we can also see Twitter's valuation over time, as Binary Surfer has here, which is just to make the point that it's a fair deal. As in, more than fair. The red line being what Elon's offering there.
Yeah.
If we go to the next one, we can also see the fact apparently the shares have now tumbled a bit after the Saudis tried to block the whole thing. Again, why are we letting ourselves be held hostage by Saudis? I mean, some of the most evil people on the planet. I mean, next to the Kims, maybe. And if we move to the last one here, this is the most revealing thing, which is the Biden administration have got involved. Why? To try and shut down the unfair practices? No. Elon Musk is the bad guy, of course. As Elon Musk offers to buy the rest of Twitter, a legal source tells Fox Business, SEC government, and the Justice Department have launched what he described as a joint investigation into a myriad of Musk's regulatory issues, primarily involving Tesla. How convenient. What perfect timing.
So they're hammering Musk with all the. This is what dictators do. Like Putin, people like that. Order investigations into business, like the Chinese Communist Party clamping down on their tech sector with Jack Ma, who started Alibaba, one of the most profitable businesses in the world. So they have these sort of and obviously they have overbearing scrutiny on people they want to silence. So the Chinese Communist Party wanted to silence Jack Ma. They did the exact same thing. Yeah. It's worrying that in the free world, in the West, this is happening. And this is obviously because Twitter, obviously with the silencing of valid stories like the Hunter Biden laptop story, smearing it as fake news.
They're obviously part of the Biden regime.
Yeah,
I mean, directly in that case, if nothing else.
It's the tech wing of the Democrat Party.
Yeah, I mean, it's undeniable at this point. And as you can see, just all of a sudden, the SEC and the Justice Department are like, we're going to investigate Elon Musk. Convenient. I mean, as you say, the CCP or Putin would engage in a purge of people within that party by doing exactly this.
Yeah.
Oh no, you're corrupt.
Yeah.
We found out.
So Berezovsky or Navalny or whoever Putin is going after, they always get they get sent to jail on tax fraud, regulatory
charges.
It's never done on a charge of like, you spoke out against me.
It's always done on something else to cover it up. But anyway, that's the how convenient moment there. But it really does establish one thing, which is that Elon Musk has, even if he loses this and leaves with selling all his shares, where he takes the price down and screws them over that way. But if nothing else, he has shone a light on how the system is really run more than any single individual ever could.
Yeah.
And I think, hats off and salutes in the chat to him for that, if nothing else.
Yeah.
I mean, being able to expose that, these are the people that run the country. Yeah. This is how they all organize themselves.
Yeah.
And they will lose as much money as possible to remain at their control.
Thank you for watching, and if you appreciated that segment from the podcast of the Lotus Eaters, you can find more content and support us over at lotuseaters.com. For instance, you can find the latest episode of Epochs, episode 49, about the continued peninsular war, which is done between Bo and Carl. If you'd like to follow us further, you can find us on Getter at lotuseaters_com. Thank you and goodbye.